Reptiles are awesome, and with so many different species and morphs out there today, there's never been a better time to get into the hobby. But with so many different options to choose from, how do you find the perfect one for yourself? Today, I'll be going over 3 things to consider that'll make the process as smooth and easy as possible, so make sure you stay tuned. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. At the time I am recording this, we are at 94 subscribers. I'll be doing a giveaway once we get to 100. It'll be the channel's first giveaway. I'm very excited for that. And honestly, I can't think of a better time to join the fam than right before a giveaway. So do with that what you guys will. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys regardless. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So, just a couple disclaimers. I know I named the video what I named it, but it can easily be renamed to how to pick your next reptile. Because everything that I'll be going over, I use myself when I'm deciding on bringing home another reptile. But this video is more oriented to beginners because if you already have multiple reptiles, you're more than likely already doing at least a few of these things. And the second thing, if you're expecting to get to the end of the video and I just tell you like, hey, get this reptile, that's not how it works. There's really not going to be a universal answer to this question. The best pet reptile to start off with is going to be different for everyone. So I can't just give you that answer. What I can do is give you the tools that you'll need to get to that answer. If that makes sense. I hope it does. So the first thing that you'll need to do is make a list of any reptiles that have caught your attention for whatever reason. So snakes, lizards, turtles, even amphibians, whatever you want, any animal that has caught your attention and that you can potentially see yourself owning one day. If you're a total beginner and you can only name like 2 or 3 reptiles off the top of your head, that's perfectly fine. Some things you could do are just search the hashtag reptile on Instagram. You'll scroll, I'm sure you can find like plenty of cool stuff on there. You can download the Morph Market app. That's what I personally recommend, and then you can see like a ton of reptiles and different species, like subspecies and morphs, and it's a really useful app. So the first thing you're going to want to consider is your personal preference. What are you looking for in that perfect pet reptile? And as we move on through the video, you're basically going to be scratching reptiles off your list that don't meet any of your criteria. So are you looking for a reptile that's super active, something like an emerald tree skink? Or maybe you don't care if your reptile is that active, then maybe a sand boa could be a good first option for you. Are you looking for an animal that you can just, lay down and do homework with? Maybe a ball python is a good option for you. If you're looking for more of a display pet, then maybe a red-eyed tree frog could be right for you. Are you looking for an animal that's going to be out and about during the day, something like a bearded dragon? Or maybe you're at home mainly during the night, so maybe something like a crested gecko could be a good idea, something that's going to be out at the same time as you. What about size? Size matters.
That's what she said.
Are you looking for something small like a collared lizard, or maybe something bigger than that, something like a boa imperator, maybe even a boa constrictor? Maybe you want something even bigger than that, something like a Burmese python. Do you want a snake like my corn snake, or do you want a lizard like a fire skink? Do you even want a reptile, right? Maybe you think amphibians like frogs and salamanders are cooler. What about color scheme? Do you want something that's black, blue, red, green? At the end of the day, it's all going to come down to personal preference, and you can start narrowing that long list down by really thinking about the qualities that you're looking for in your first pet reptile or amphibian. The next thing you're going to want to consider is the care. So, can you actually keep this thing alive?
I hope so.
Okay. What does this species need to thrive, and can I provide it those things, right? So think about the enclosure that you're going to need. Of course, you always want to meet the minimum, but more is always better. And don't think just about, the size you're going to need now. Think long term. That little Asian water monitor that's really cute, that can live in a 40-gallon right now, will probably be your size as an adult. Are you going to give it enough space when it grows up? Do you have the means to do so? You're also going to want to think about things like a water feature, right? Some reptiles are semi-aquatic. Do you know how to do water changes? Do you know how to keep the water clean? You're going to want to think about things like heat and humidity. And depending on the species you're looking at, it may be easier or harder to keep depending on where you live. So for example, I live in Florida. It's hot and humid here. So it's a lot easier for me to keep things that like humidity as opposed to things that like it very dry. If I want a very arid species, I may need to consider something like a dehumidifier. Conversely, if you live somewhere up north where it gets really cold at night, you may need to think about supplemental night heating just because it gets so cold. You're going to want to think about food source, right? That's super important. Usually when you have insectivores like leopard geckos or whatever, it's pretty easy because any pet store will have crickets, right? Like Petco and PetSmart. Then if you have snakes that eat rodents, you can't get those at Petco and PetSmart unless you're buying, the ones meant for pets, but then they're more expensive. So you may need to have a reptile store nearby if you want live rodents. And sure, you can order them online, which is super convenient, but those are always frozen, right? And not a lot of snakes will eat frozen thawed. My ball python refuses frozen thawed. She won't eat them. So that's just something you gotta consider. There's snakes that just eat eggs. There's literally an egg-eating snake. There's some animals that are a little bit more picky with their diet. Dart frogs, for example, will only eat fruit flies because they just like really small insects. You'll need to consider how much time you can actually dedicate to these animals. Do you like to travel a lot, right? Some reptiles will need maintenance, once a day. Some will just need it once a week. And I found that in general, snakes are usually more low maintenance than anything else, that like lizards and amphibians and stuff. So for a snake, if you want to go on a trip, just feed them right before you leave, change their water dish, set their heating and their lighting on a timer, and you can probably be gone for a week and they won't even notice. They'll eat once a week at most. As adults, they'll eat less often than that, but they'll be fine. For something like my tree frogs, for example, I can't do that. They eat every day and they need water changes at least every day or at most every other day. In short, there's going to be a lot of factors that you'll need to consider when determining whether or not you can actually care for these animals, and it's just going to start with research. Always, do a lot of research before you bring anything home. The third and final consideration is going to be the cost of everything, right? So that's going to include the upfront costs, which are things like the animal itself, the enclosure, the heating, the lighting, the substrate, the water dishes, hides, etc. But it's also going to include some long-term costs. So things like their diet, right? How much is it going to cost to feed this animal? Typically, bigger animals will be more expensive to feed than smaller ones. UVB bulbs, right? Some of them need to be changed every year, but a lot of them need to be changed every 6 months, and they're pretty expensive. How far away is the reptile store from you? How often are you going to be going? So gas money, it can also start to add up. Do you have enough money for a vet in case there's an emergency and your animal gets sick? And exotic vets are normally more expensive than your typical cat and dog vet, so that's something you have to keep in mind. But you're going to want to make sure that you have the money to care for these animals before you actually get them, right? So I'll go on Facebook and I'll see these people posting in the reptile groups, like a picture of their setup, and then people will comment like, oh, you should probably get, a bigger size for it, that's too small of an enclosure. And then they'll just reply like, oh, well, I just don't have the money. And it's like, I'm not here to judge anyone's, financial situations, but if you don't have the money to properly care for an animal, you probably shouldn't be getting one in the first place, right? Or even worse than that, they'll post their animal which is sick and they'll be asking for medical advice, like, at home remedies, when that's a lot of the times that's not even going to work and you need to take them to a vet. And then, they'll post a few days later that their reptile died because they couldn't take it to a vet. So these are just things that you're going to want to consider before you get your actual reptile. So by now, that list that you made earlier should be a lot shorter. If you're down to just one reptile, then congratulations. That is your first reptile. Just do a little bit more research and you'll be ready to bring them home. If you're down to a few reptiles, don't worry about it. If you went through the checklist properly, then you can rest assured that any of those will be a good first reptile for you. Just flip a coin or something, because reptiles are one of those things where once you have one, you'll kind of want more. So don't worry about picking too hard, because eventually you'll probably end up with the other ones that you have left on that list. But yeah, guys, that about does it for this video. I hope you found it informative. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments. But as always, thanks for watching and enjoy your reptiles.